you will own nothing and you will be happy.
It's that time of the year again. World leaders, billionaires, and Greta Thunberg are all gathering in the Swiss town of Davos. They're all there to attend the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, an organization headed by this guy, Klaus Schwab, the most handsome man in the world. Corporations pay up to $650,000 a year for their WEF memberships. The WEF calls them partners. The CEOs of these partner corporations, plus a bunch of politicians and activists, are then invited to attend the annual meeting at Davos. Attending the meeting at Davos costs another $28,000 per head. But just because you have 30 grand doesn't mean you get to attend. You have to be invited first. These invitations are limited to 3,000 a year. If you are the CEO of a partner corporation or the leader of a powerful country, your invitation is pretty much guaranteed. For lesser billionaires, millionaires, and commoners, it's a hard knock life. You have to wait by the phone like a girl after a first date and pray that Klaus Schwab likes you enough to call. At Davos, our overlords discuss the most serious problems facing our world today. These are things you will never hear about anywhere else. Stuff like climate change, artificial intelligence, immigration, women's rights, men's wrongs, diversity, clean energy. We plebs don't know anything about these problems. Only the elites do, and they get all this knowledge for the low price of $600,000 a year. Plus 30 grand to attend the conference in Switzerland. Throw in the running cost of a private jet and $400 a night for a bunk bed at a crappy Airbnb, and you too can help save the world. Did I mention that hot dogs cost $43 in Davos? Yes, that's one hot dog. Not two, not 10, one. The World Economic Forum is an organization of many contradictions. While it claims its mission is to improve the state of the world, membership is only open to the richest and the most powerful. The WEF is by far the most elite organization on the planet, and it's not even close. One of my favorite YouTubers has called the WEF a book club for woke billionaires. Jon Stewart has called it an orgy of self-congratulatory excess, and Bono has called it, doesn't matter. I realize I don't care what Bono thinks. Some people believe the WEF is a good organization. Others believe it's an evil organization that secretly runs the world. But is the WEF any of these things? The short answer is no. The long answer is the reason I made this video. To understand the World Economic Forum and its Davos conference, we have to start with the man who created the organization, Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab is different things to different people. To global elites, he's a dude who organizes their annual get-together at Davos. To conspiracy theorists, he's the Antichrist. And to his employees, he is a psycho boss who thinks he will win the Nobel Prize one day. Back when he was a boy, Klaus Schwab wanted to become a great man. He wanted to study economics and do whatever economists do when they are not making stupid predictions. But Klaus's dad told him that great men study mechanical engineering. So Klaus Schwab studied mechanical engineering at ETH in Zurich. Then he got a master's in economics from Freiburg University. He followed that up with a PhD in economics from Freiburg, and then went back to ETH for another PhD, this time in engineering. But Klaus wasn't done studying. His daddy told him that all great men go to Harvard. So Klaus Schwab went to Harvard and got himself a master's degree in public administration. I realize that I've been talking about Klaus Schwab's dad a lot. So, who was he? His name was Eugene Schwab. Eugene moved from Switzerland to Germany after Hitler became Chancellor. He was there to manage the operations of SK WEF AG. SK WEF AG produced flamethrowers for Hitler's army during World War II. SK WEF also helped the Nazis research how to make a nuclear bomb. Luckily for all of us, they never succeeded. But that is Klaus Schwab's dad, not Klausi himself. Klausi was only a baby at the time. And if there is one thing I believe in with all my heart, it's that we should never, ever punish sons for the sins of their fathers. If we did, my mother would kick me out of the basement.
Get out of my house.
Now, back to Klausi. He returned to Germany in 1967. Europe in the late 60s was different from Europe today. Europeans hadn't grown arrogant enough to imagine that they were better than America. Back then, America was their daddy, and they all knew it. With his Harvard degree, Klausi was hot.
Teach us the secrets of American management, Klausi. Please. The Americans are so much better at business than us. You have lived with them and you have learned from them. Please, teach us their ways, Master.
I will teach you.
And so, Klaus Schwab did. In 1971, he organized what he called the European Management Forum. A bunch of executives from a bunch of European companies gathered in Davos, and Klausi taught them how to make money the American way. The European Management Forum's first meeting was a smashing success. Klaus Schwab used the success of that first meeting to get himself a job as a professor of business policy at the University of Geneva. Klausi made a second decision. He decided to make the European Management Forum an annual event. But there was a problem. There were thousands of business conferences. For Klaus's conference to stand out from the crowd, it needed good branding. The European Management Forum wasn't going to be just some conference where corporate executives sat around talking about money all day. They would do that, of course. But none of that stuff was on the marketing materials. Instead of marketing itself as a business conference, the European Management Forum marketed itself as a conference focused on saving the world. To help sell this new image, Klausi started inviting politicians, bureaucrats, and scientists, on top of the usual corporate executives. The most prominent guy at the first meeting in 1971 was this dude, Otto von Habsburg. His greatest claim to fame was that his daddy used to be the Emperor of Austria back when emperors were still a thing.
You will be ruled by inbred imbeciles, and you will be happy.
For the second conference in 1972, Klausi landed two relatively big fish. The first one was Werner von Braun. He was the director of rocket development at NASA. Von Braun also used to build rockets for Hitler, but we don't talk about that. The second prominent attendee was Pierre Werner. Pierre Werner was the president of Luxembourg, but I personally think Werner von Braun was the more prominent Werner. I have nothing against Luxembourg. It has a lower population than the smallest village in India, but it's somehow still a sovereign country with a president, parliament, and everything. The president of Luxembourg ranks near the bottom in the tier list of world leaders, but it was a good start for Klausi. The two Werners, von Braun and Pierre, gave the 1972 European Management Forum a bit of a shine. Their presence transformed a business conference in the Swiss Alps into a business conference in the Swiss Alps, pretending to be a pre-battle meeting of the Avengers. Year after year, Klaus Schwab managed to lure in one high-profile guest after another. This increased the prestige of the European Management Forum so much that in 1987, Klaus Schwab rebranded the organization. The name he chose was World Economic Forum. From a business conference to a wannabe United Nations in just 16 years. Well done, Klausi. The World Economic Forum has never strayed far from its roots. It pretends to be an organization with the same level of seriousness as the UN, but when you scratch beneath the surface, it's still just a business conference pretending to be something else. The leaders of every country that matters attend the Davos meeting. Those who can't show up in person send a delegation. Charlie has been to Davos, and so have Trump, Biden, Xi Jinping, and Putin. If you haven't been invited to Davos, you don't matter. But world leaders are just salad dressing. Beneath it all, the WEF is what it has always been, a business conference. Over 1,100 of the world's largest corporations are WEF partners. All these corporations pay membership fees which range from $62,000 to $650,000 per year. And every January, 3,000 people are given the privilege of paying $28,000 a head to attend the Davos meeting in person. Between membership fees, participation fees, and other sources of revenue, the WEF makes over $400 million a year. The organization has accumulated another $800 million in assets. The WEF is a non-profit foundation, so it does not pay any taxes on this money. That would be a nice thing. But because of how the laws work in Switzerland, the World Economic Forum doesn't have to disclose exactly what it spends that money on. A situation that is just so convenient. To stop the WEF from looking like his personal kingdom, and to make it look as legit as possible, Klaus Schwab has stocked the board of trustees with the most prominent people he could find. We're talking of people like Christine Lagarde, Al Gore, and Queen Rania of Jordan. I mean, what kind of idiot wants to live in a democracy when you can be ruled by kings and queens like it's still 1357?
Come, bow before your king! Bow, you
And now to the most important question. Is the World Economic Forum evil? In my opinion, the WEF is neither good nor evil. A lot of powerful people go to the Davos meeting, but they are only there to advance their own interests. Xi Jinping and Putin don't care about what Klaus Schwab thinks. They'll go to Switzerland, shake a bunch of hands, make a speech, then go back home and do whatever they want. Similarly, the CEOs of the world's largest corporations don't pay $650,000 every year so they can go to Davos and get yelled at by Greta Thunberg.
How dare you!
They aren't going there to save the world or end inequality or solve climate change. They go there to network. You can go to Davos, and in the 1 week you spend there, you can meet 20 presidents and the CEOs of 100 companies, all in one place. There is no other gathering in the world that provides you with such an opportunity. That's why they pay all that money to attend. It's for the access, nothing else. The panels at Davos are just boring shop talk that exist so journalists have something to report about. The real business of Davos happens far away from the cameras. It happens on the ski slopes, the champagne rooms, and the cigar lounges. The Davos conference is just the world's most exclusive networking event. That's why corporations pay so much for an invite. Everyone who goes there knows it. They only pretend they are trying to save the world for PR purposes. The World Economic Forum is just an exclusive country club for the global super elite. And Klaus Schwab is not emperor of the world. He's just the guy who sends out invitations to the country club. The rich and powerful have always had their secret meeting places. Klaus's genius was in creating a place where they could meet in the open and conspire on how to make themselves richer and more powerful while telling us they are trying to save us. Davos has always been a business conference. Everything else is just window dressing. If you have 600 grand just lying around, you can bribe Klaus for an invitation and join your fellow elites. If you don't have that kind of money, subscribe and pray